13 compliments one day? Let's talk about it. Okay, so real talk. When I first got my hands on this fragrance, I wasn't super impressed. You ever have high hopes for something, finally get it, and you like, that's it? Well, that was kind of my experience with Centaurus. Now, if you've been living under a rock or just new to the fragrance world, Centaurus is one of the latest releases from the house of Creed, and this is a 2024 release, and in my opinion, it does things a bit different than what they're actually known for. Now, for me, when I think of the House of Creed, I think of fresh, I think of inviting, I think of sophistication, but I also think of something that's generally crowd pleasing. But Centaurus, on the other hand, this one takes things to a whole new level. Or does it? Now, on the first spray of Centaurus, it's like they're going full-blown scorched earth. We're talking cinnamon, cardamom, tobacco, and also pink pepper. However, all of these notes are competing for that top spot, which makes it feel a little unorganized. However, one might say that there's beauty in the chaos. When I first got my nose on this fragrance at Neiman Marcus, I was somewhat intrigued, and I was interested in what the full presentation would actually look like, feel like, and be like. But then, as I took my test strip home, I began to think to myself, is this fragrance actually wearable, or do I smell like I just popped out of a spice cabinet? So fast forward to after I got this bottle in, I decided to try it on skin just to see what would happen. And honestly, that's where things begin to shift. It was smooth, it was spicy, it was elegant, it had this creaminess to it, and it also had this overarching feeling of elegance and sophistication, but it also packed a bold, powerful punch. And despite all of that, I still wasn't sure this fragrance would be a hit with the masses. So what do you do when you're not sure? You just wear it some more. And that's where I noticed in the base, you get this full 180 transformation. It's bourbon vanilla, it's tonka, it's benzoin, which really just makes this one warm, seductive, and also super inviting. Okay, so now a few weeks have passed and I've done my testing on this fragrance. I'm feeling confident, head up, chest out, prepared to take it out into the real world to see how this fragrance performs. And before I even stepped out of the door, compliments just rain on in. Now, I know what you might be thinking, yo, B, that's your family, it doesn't count. But in this situation, it does, because I wasn't 100% sure how this would perform. I found myself walking down the steps and my son said, yo, Pops, what you got on, Daddy-o? Well, that's not exactly what he said, but that's how it comes off. Not only was he super intrigued with it, giving me a compliment, the missus on our hug was like, oh, you smell so amazing. Never let go. Never let go. You almost would think it was the Titanic because it was about to go down. And then my youngest son decided to chase me downstairs because he wanted to give his 2 cents too. Now, what I'll say is I did go a little heavy on the sprays here because I did notice, at least in my opinion, in wearing this fragrance in the testing environment, my fragrance room and around, I didn't feel like the fragrance really had a lot of projection as well as longevity. But when I up the spray count, of course, those things are gonna come a little bit more naturally, more specifically for the projection of the scent, and it sure did work. And speaking of work, that's where the bulk of the compliments came in. I got some in the parking garage, I got some in the elevator, I got some out and about as well, but they were just coming in left and right. Now, I know what some of you are thinking, yo, B, how did you know you got 13 compliments? Well, you know, I used to do a weekly fragrance rotation, and I knew that I got 3 out of the house, but when I got 2 in the parking garage, something said, B, you gotta track this. So I did. And on this particular day, I ended up going to a Dallas Cowboy event, and that's where the rest of the compliments came in. People who were about and around just came in and said, oh my goodness, you smell amazing. In fact, one of the guys walked up to me and said, man, you smell amazing. What do you have on? I told him he went and got other people to come over, like, listen, you got to smell this guy and you got to pick this fragrance up yourself because this fragrance smells fantastic. He didn't know what I did, but if he did, it would just make sense. And there was also a lady who really enjoyed this scent and said that she wanted to pick it up for her husband. So just like that, in less than 24 hours of wear time, this fragrance went from man to mesmerizing. Look, if you're anything like me, of course, you're wearing fragrances that you enjoy, but it just adds that extra je ne sais quoi when everyone else around you enjoys the fragrance as well. It makes that $545 price point that much more palatable. Palatable. But have no fear, because discounts are here, and I'll be sure to link them down below just in case you're looking to pick this fragrance up, try some samples, or get it on a discount. In today's world with YouTube, social media, Google, as well as a ton of AI assistants out there, we're used to having things at our fingertips. But with this fragrance, I learned a lesson. And the lesson is, a fragrance needs time to reveal its full potential. So that's the story of how Scentauris got me 13 compliments in one day. And with that, if you're looking for a fragrance to turn heads, spark conversations, and garner compliments like never before, then this is one of those fragrances that could potentially do that for you. Oh, and I almost forgot, this fragrance is going to be best suited for the fall and for the winter. It's spicy, it's darker than what you would get from most Creed fragrances. It's a little bit more seductive than what you would experience there as well. And I think that just like I've been wearing this one in that colder weather, this is going to be that prime time Coach Dion for you to take this one across the goal line. This fragrance is expensive, but if you enjoyed this video or the outcome of this fragrance, then click here to see 10 cheap fragrances that get crazy compliments.